There are two statues in the town square here in Wittenberg. One is, of course, Martin Luther, but the other is not as well known. That's too bad because he was also very important to the Protestant Reformation. His name, Philip Melanchthon. His house is located behind me, just a few doors from the Black Cloister, the Augustinian monastery that was later Martin Luther's home. It's also right next to the university here at Wittenberg. That's fitting because Melanchthon might best be called the scholar of the Reformation. He was also one of the Wittenberg Five, Dr. Stephen Nichols' 5 famous men of Wittenberg, which consisted of Martin Luther, Nicholas von Amsdorf, Justus Jonas, Johannes Bugenhagen, and the man of this house, Philip Melanchthon. Melanchthon was born February 16th, 1497, and as a 10-year-old, he was learning Latin and Greek. He later went on to Heidelberg University to study philosophy and the classics, then went on to Tübingen University for more study. In 1518, he arrived at Wittenberg and was appointed a professor of Greek. He went with Luther the next year to the Leipzig debate, and you might be thinking of Melanchthon as Luther's right-hand man, and you'd be correct. But more than that, you need to understand he could hold his own in a theological debate. In 1520, Melanchthon married Catherine Knapp, who was the daughter of the Wittenberg mayor. And then the following year, the same year Luther made his stand at the Diet of Worms, Melanchthon published his Loci Communes, that is, the series of theological writings and systematic expressions of both Luther's and the teaching of the Reformation theology. It's a classic even to this day. Through the tumultuous 1520s, Melanchthon was there with Luther, and as Luther lectured and taught at Wittenberg, so did Melanchthon. Eventually, Melanchthon went from being a professor of Greek and lecturing on biblical books to the Department of Theology, which would have been a fitting change and expression for who he was. In 1529, Luther wrote the preface to Melanchthon's commentary on Galatians, which is a classic. In his preface, Luther writes, "I had to fight with rabble and devils, for which reasons my books are very warlike. I am the rough pioneer who must break the road, but Master Philip comes along softly and gently sows and waters heartily, since God has richly endowed him with many gifts." In 1530, a number of the Wittenberg scholars traveled to Torgau at the invitation of John the Steadfast. John was the brother of Frederick the Wise, and he succeeded Frederick as the Elector of Saxony when Frederick died in 1525. John called his theologians to Torgau to draft a doctrinal statement for the German princes to understand the Reformation and to present them as a defense to the Roman Catholic Church. It's called, to this day, the Augsburg Confession. Luther was right in the thick of hammering out the articles, but the problem was he could not travel to Augsburg to defend or amend it before the council. Augsburg was outside John's area of rule. Remember, Luther was still an outlaw in the Holy Roman Empire, so Luther could not go. It was Melanchthon who would lead the council while Luther waited in the castle at Coburg for 6 months. At the conclusion, with Melanchthon's leadership, the princes all affixed their signatures to what has become known as the Augsburg Confession of Faith. It became a turning point and a victory for the Reformation and for Luther's thought, and it'd be fair to say that without Melanchthon, it would not have happened. On April 19th, 1560, in this house behind me, Philip Melanchthon died. Before his death, he wrote to assure himself. He wrote to himself, and he wrote these things: "You shall see God. You shall look upon the Son. You will learn those wonderful mysteries which you have not been able to understand in this life." Melanchthon is buried in Wittenberg in the Castle Church, right next to Martin Luther.